Ladies and gentlemen, I will never understand why people or how people can look at a little baby like you see right there on my screen. Precious baby boy, beautiful little boy. And what could a little face like that do to make anybody feel the vitriol in their heart to harm and hurt and murder a face like that little baby that y'all see right there on my screen? I want y'all to understand that little boy right there, his name is Dre'Quan Scott. So he has a unique name, but the little boy is only 18 months old, or was 18 months old. So let me tell y'all guys this story. Desiree Taylor, who is his mother, is trying to understand why someone would kill her baby. He was the happiest baby in the world. He was always smiling, always laughing, always wanted to dance, and always wanted to listen to music and play with his brothers. He was always happy. I don't understand how anyone could hurt my baby, according to Taylor, who was 26 years old, and she said this Wednesday. But Battle Creek police believe that her boyfriend, hashtag mom's boyfriend, they believe that he is responsible for the death of 18-month-old Dre'Quan Scott earlier this month. Let me see if I can get his face on the screen. His face. This dude's face. That dude's name is Henry Jones Jr., who is 18 years old. I want y'all to remember that the mother is 26. This half a man, grown ass boy, let's say it like that. Half a man, grown ass boy, bubblegum face looking ass boy, right? Funny looking ass. When I say bubblegum, y'all remember the cartoon Bubblegum? And I thought about that. I said, I know his face, and I know I got a fat face too. But I want y'all to look at how his face is kind of turned up like that. Just a no care in the world face having ass. Look at this. I'm actually pulled up a picture. Now tell me that this dude don't look exactly like the bubblegum character. Somebody please tell me that I'm just pulling things out of thin air. We gotta laugh sometimes to keep from crying. He looks just like the character from Gumball. Exactly like it. Funny looking ass. Great juice head having ass. Oh, underdeveloped. I don't know, man. Anyway, let's move on past the jokes. Henry Jones Jr. is 18 years old, and he was with a woman that already had kids that is 26 years old. Let me tell y'all how much more complicated that gets. Think about how disgusting this is. And I don't mean no disrespect to the mom. Maybe I do, but I don't want to hurt her feelings too bad. Maybe I do. The mom is 26 years old with at least 2 kids, or maybe even 3. I don't know how many she got. That baby is 18 months old. The baby is 18 months old, not even a year old, just over a year old. So what does that mean? That means in less than 24 months, the mother is already not with the child's father. Shortly after she had this kid, in less than 24 months, she's already laying up under not only a new man, if you even want to call him a man. I don't think he's a man. I think he might actually be just a cartoon character in real life. "18 months old, and she got with a 18-year-old. Now, let me ask you guys a question. With a face only his mother can love, what type of experience do you think an 18-year-old, half a boy, underdeveloped man has with dealing with children? Crying children, young children, changing diapers. What does he know about being a father? What does he know about being a man? What do you guys think he did for a living? What do you guys think his trajectory was in life? Huh? Am I speaking too much? Am I being too mean? Am I being an ass? I don't know. You guys have to tell me. Why would you think that's a suitable candidate to bring your children around? I don't know what anybody would ever do to my child. I can't believe this would happen. What happens when you go to the thug zoo, when you take your children to the thug zoo and you decide to walk off and leave your children in the thug lion cage? What does that thug lion usually do? Oh, that's right. The thug lion usually mauls and kills anything and everything that it's around. Huh? Because it's unstable. It's a creature of nature. Thug lions is going to do what thug lions do. Hashtag when you date thugs, you date death. Hashtag stupid is as stupid thugs, Lieutenant Dan. Hashtag hood hoes love hood dick. Yes, it's true. Hashtag don't give them jail time, give them hell time. We're going to pull out all the hashtags for this story. Jones, who is 18 years old, is being sought after, actually he's been caught, but after Callahan County Prosecutor David Gilbert authorized open murder and first-degree child abuse charges in the toddler's death. Jones has not been seen since he left the unconscious child with Taylor's mother about 10 p.m. on November the 7th. She called 911 and the baby died 2 hours later at Bronson Battle Creek Hospital. A pathologist, I can't pronounce that word, I'm a little slow, sorry. A pathologist, I had to sound it out, concluded the baby death was a homicide and police have continued their search for Jones. But again, he's been found already. Taylor said her mother told Jones, pounded on the door and handed her the baby and then turned and left without answering any questions. Detective Sergeant Joel Case said Jones has family ties to Kalamazoo. Anybody who has information, you don't even need to use that number. They've already found him. Now, in a telephone interview, the mother said she never considered Jones would hurt any of her three, not one, not two, but three children who range between ages 8 years old, 3 years old, and 18 months old at 26 years old. So she started having babies at the same age that her boyfriend was, started having sex probably a lot quicker than that, probably at about 16 to 17, in order to carry a baby to term, have it at 18, for her kid to already be 8 years old with her being 26. That's disgusting. That's gross. He didn't give me any reason to think he would hurt my kids, besides the fact that he has no life, he has no training, he has no future, no career, no training experience being a father. You mean like those reasons? Maybe even possibly a criminal history, which I can guarantee you that the mother didn't do a background check on him. She just thought Mr. Gumball Face was going to be a suitable candidate to be a father to her children. To children that belong to maybe 1 or 2 or 3 other men. But let's move on. He wouldn't punish my kids. He never yelled at my kids. She said her boys love Jones. Wow, love Jones. Anyway, my 3-year-old is still walking around saying his name. They all loved Henry, but I wonder why they're not walking around saying their own father's name. But I digress. Let's move on. Let's move on past that. He was always really good with my kids. I can't believe she had the nerve to come out and say this. Me and him had our ups and downs, but nobody expected him to ever hurt my kids. One of those downs was in September when Jones came to Taylor's workplace and pointed a gun at her during an argument about a picture she put on Facebook of her son and his father. Wow. I'm going to take a sip of this green tea. Since we're going to be spilling the tea today, I'm going to drink this Gold Peak tea. It's really good. Let me read that again for those of y'all who might be feeling sorry for the mom. The mom said, prior to her son being murdered, had the nerve to come out and speak the truth and say this. They said we had ups and downs, right? One of those downs was when he came to her job and pointed a gun in her face during an argument because he got mad that the mom posted a picture of her son's father and her. Put up a picture of her son and his dad. These kids are young. She just stopped literally having sex with these dudes, especially that baby. He's only 18 months old. Did this fool even allow the bodily fluids to even dry or be cleansed out of her body before he decided to crawl up in her? I know that sounds nasty. I apologize, but it's the freaking truth. We just run up in these women, and then on top of that, these type of women, it's not all women, but these type of women are disgusting to continue to keep letting dudes shoot their club up, shoot them up with any and everybody seed who will choose to be around them. That's just disgusting. So he came to her job and pointed a gun in her face, and apparently that wasn't enough for her to realize that maybe he might be violent towards your kids. When those kids look like their dad, not like you, because you ain't they daddy. If he mad at the dad like that and mad at you like that, you think that he wouldn't get mad at the kids like that, to which he has no biological ties to? He has a young mind, a small gumball head, huh? What do you think is going on in little gumball's head? What do you think is going through little gumball's thoughts while all of this stuff is occurring around him that he has no control over? He can't control whether those kids are around the dad or not, because that's between the mom and all three of those dads, or all two of those dads, or however many dads there are. But I'm assuming there are probably multiple dads, because there's a huge gap between ages 8 years old and 8 months old. I'm just going to assume that by the numbers that we're having children outside of wedlock, that there's a high probability that this mother has multiple dads. But let's move on. We're using logic, right? She told officers then that her boyfriend of 10 months was afraid of the police and of going to jail. So 10 months, the baby's 18 months, so he's been around that kid since he was 8 months, which is not even close to a year old. He failed to appear for a preliminary examination on November the 16th after being charged with assault with intent to do great bodily harm, less than murder, and assault with a dangerous weapon. Taylor says she ended the relationship for a time, and her oldest son begged her to allow Jones to return to the house because he was living off of her, clearly. The night of Dre'Quan's death, Taylor says she went to work, leaving her youngest and oldest sons with her boyfriend. Not even the dads, with him. Her 3-year-old was staying with her mother. Why wouldn't all of the children stay with her mom? I don't know, man. This whole story is just stupid. She texted Jones at about 8 p.m. to say that she had ordered pizza to be delivered to the house on North McKinley Avenue and to wake the baby up from his nap, which also means that he didn't have a job and couldn't buy a damn hot and ready pizza for the kids that he was being left around, which means that, again, he's a broke, worth nothing ass dude. At about 10 p.m., she realized her sister had called her cell phone several times. When she returned the call, learned that the baby was injured. She said, I drove 100 miles an hour, which is highly illegal that you would even admit that. But let's move on. I drove 100 miles an hour to the hospital and ran in trying to find my baby, and they were still trying to save him. They got his heartbeat back for a couple of seconds, and they tried to keep it going, but nothing could bring him back. The doctors pronounced the child dead at 12:59 p.m. on November the 7th. Taylor says she held his body for hours. She texted Jones after the baby died. When I told him he was gone, I asked what had happened, and he said he didn't know, and that when he went to check on him, he wasn't breathing. He kept saying he didn't know, and then he said he was getting a lawyer and not saying anything else until he got a lawyer. So at least this 18-year-old dummy had enough sense to not say anything else without legal representation. That sounds like, I don't know, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe he knows his rights, or maybe he's just been in enough criminal actions, criminal involvements that he knew to not incriminate himself. She said, I have not talked to him since that night. I try to think if anything that could have happened outside of Henry hurting him, because I don't think that he would hurt him. Now, the autopsy found that her son sustained broken ribs. Let me get the baby's face back up on the screen. This little boy sustained broken ribs and severe internal injuries that the pathologist concluded his death was a homicide. Taylor now believes Jones is responsible, and I'm going to tell you guys there was probably also some blunt trauma involved in there as well. I'm going to skip the rest of that to keep this short. Let me give you guys the fair usage. Let me let you hear the couple of news videos. Federal law allows citizens to reproduce, distribute, or exhibit portions of copyrighted motion pictures, videotapes, or video discs under certain circumstances without the authorization of the copyright holder. This is called fair use. It is allowed for purposes of criticism, news reporting, teaching, and parody, which doesn't infringe of copyright under 17 U.S.C. 107. Let's get it.
Tonight in Battle Creek, where investigators are trying to figure out more about the death of an 18-month-old. News Channel 3's Tavarius Haywood joins us live now from the neighborhood where it's possible that child was last seen alive. And Tavarius, right now police aren't releasing many details, but there is a man they say they would like to speak to.
Yeah, that's right, Erica. I did speak to people who live in the area. They did not want to go on camera, but they did tell me the victim is a little baby boy. Police say on Saturday they got a 911 call about a young victim. Now investigators would like to talk to the man who was watching the child before that call for help. Here's a look. Police released this picture to us of 18-year-old Henry Louis Jones Jr. We're told he is dating the child's mother. But Battle Creek police say over the weekend he was watching the toddler at a home on North McKinley Avenue. At some point, police say Jones took the child to a relative's home where he told them to call 911. Since then, Jones has not been seen. Here's another look at him. Right now, Jones is only a person of interest. Police say they want to talk to him about what happened to the child before he was taken to a relative's home. Right now, the child's name and the cause of death are not being released. We're told that medics did try to revive that baby boy, but he died at a local Battle Creek hospital. Police are still investigating. Live in Battle Creek, Tavarius Haywood, News Channel 3.
All right, Tavarius, thanks. And tonight...
Good evening. It's now been 17 days without justice for little Dre'Quan Scott. Police in Battle Creek say the toddler was taken by his mother's boyfriend to a relative's home, and then the teenager disappeared.
Police have ruled the 18-month-old's death as a homicide. News Channel 3's Tavarius Haywood spoke exclusively with Scott's mom for the very first time tonight.
Dre'Quan Scott's mother says she has not been able to sleep since the death of her son. She also says she hasn't been able to lay her son to rest because police are still investigating the cause of death. She says this is something she may not ever heal from.
My baby was the happiest baby. He was the sweetest, smiliest, happiest baby. I don't understand why or how somebody could hurt such a happy baby.
These moments captured in time are the only thing Desiree Taylor has left of her baby boy, Dre'Quan Scott. She says the 18-month-old was a playful, loving little guy who loved to dance.
Give a kiss.
Taylor says she would hold him until he fell asleep. Now all she can hold are his stuffed animals.
I am devastated. I don't know how to move forward without my baby.
Taylor says she never imagined 18-year-old Henry Jones Jr. would hurt any of her children. Jones hasn't been seen since the night he took Dre'Quan to a relative's home and told them to call 911. Dre'Quan died later that night. Taylor says she keeps reliving the moments hospital workers tried saving her son's life.
They were able to get his heartbeat back for, it seemed like only a couple of seconds. And then it went away again.
Jones was caring for Dre'Quan right before he died. Police are still investigating what happened during that time. News Channel 3 looked into Jones' dangerous criminal history. He was charged with intentional assault less than murder and assault with a deadly weapon in September. Taylor pleaded.
Hashtag when you date thugs, you date death. Let's listen at his criminal history again. Let's listen at that again.
And then it went away again.
Jones was caring for Dre'Quan right before he died. Police are still investigating what happened during that time. News Channel 3 looked into Jones' dangerous criminal history. He was charged with intentional assault less than murder and assault with a deadly weapon in September. Taylor pleads for the public to say something if you know something.
I want just
Hashtag see something, say something. Just like we've been saying on the AFC for years.
Taylor pleads for the public to say something if you know something.
I want justice for my son.
Give a kiss.
Battle Creek police say Jones could be anywhere in Michigan, but he was last seen in the Kalamazoo area. Now, police want to solve this investigation, and if you know where Jones is, that could be the key. Reporting from home, Tavarius Haywood, News Channel 3.
Let me go ahead and give you guys my closing thoughts about this story. And again, man, R.I.P. to that beautiful little boy. He seemed very happy, and I know he was probably a happy, typical kid. And like I say, he was just put in a losing situation. And I'm going to tell you guys what a losing situation is. When we continue to keep recklessly procreating and bringing children into a world with no basis, no foundation for them, the nuclear family is so important. Biological mother and biological father, if you guys are not going to be committed to raising children under the same roof or make a huge commitment to do it outside of that, to raise the children, then maybe we shouldn't be continuously just bringing children into the world. Because once they're here, yeah, we look at it, it's a beautiful thing, but we don't have to bring them into a nightmare. A nightmarish situation is where they don't have any real support. Especially when you are leaving your children with your brand new violent boyfriend who stuck a gun. Like, how does he have a gun and no job? How does that even make sense? I'm going to tell you why he ain't got a job. I want y'all to remember that mom had to order them a freaking pizza. on the day that he murdered this kid. If you ain't got pizza money for Little Caesar hot and ready, then something is wrong. If you broke, you shouldn't have kids. If you broke, you shouldn't be around kids. Gumball face is an idiot. Hashtag TTT. Take the testicles. This fool should never be allowed to be around children, nor should he never be allowed, like he should be castrated. He should never be allowed the opportunity to have children if he gets out of jail in the next 99 years. If he only has to serve 85% of his sentence or gets out on COVID. He should never be allowed to be around children. Matter of fact, the mom put her children in the lion's cage. Why not? Why isn't mom facing charges? Why isn't mom being investigated by CPS, DPFS, or ABC, or whoever the hell? I don't know how many acronyms you want to use. But I think the mom made a horrible, horrible, horrible choice, especially knowing that she already faced danger herself and continued to let that individual be around her kids. I think that's worthy of losing custody to the dads. Dads is in plural. That fool needs life in prison, and that's just the end of it. I'm DJ Just Jay. We're the AFC, where we advocate for children first. Let me go ahead and bring my favorite picture of the little boy back up. This one. That's my favorite picture of Dre'Quan. Dre'Quan, young prince, R.I.P. And we pray for your siblings that maybe if they get in somebody else's hands, like their biological fathers, maybe they'll get a chance to grow up and become something great. Okay? From my heart to yours, thank you guys for listening with an open mind and an open heart. Thank you so much.